Hello there. Thanks for joining us on another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Psalm 127 verse 3 says, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb, a reward." Let us continue to lead by example so our children can follow. It's International Day of Families, where we embrace and appreciate the ties that bind people together under the theme, Embracing Diversity, Strengthening Families. We have some educational features lined up just for you, so stay with us as we take you through another half hour geared to keep you informed.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, May 15, 2024. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government is committed to reaching a consensus on matters concerning the constitutional reform process. The Prime Minister's assurance came on the heels of the opposition's stance not to sign a report that was done by the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC, which includes members of the opposition. Speaking earlier today at the post-cabinet press briefing, the Prime Minister said the CRC had made good on its commitment to consult with the relevant stakeholders before submitting its report to Cabinet on Monday.
I would like to say to the Jamaican people that the efforts that the government has made is not in vain, that we will continue to pursue consensus, because the truth is that you cannot disturb the constitutional and governance architecture of the country without consensus. That is the reality. And consensus takes time and it takes effort.
The report is now being reviewed by Cabinet, and when completed, it will be tabled in Parliament along with the government's conclusion. The government says it will not engage in the politicization of the reform process or contribute to undermining its integrity. The country recorded a 24% reduction in murders between November 2023 and April this year when compared to the preceding 6-month period. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says this is attributed to the work of the JCF staff and resources that have been provided to the police. Minister Chang was making his contribution to the 2024-2025 sectoral debate in Parliament on Tuesday.
We accept and agree that the homicide rate is still too high.
Yes.
Unacceptable.
Yes.
Unacceptable. It is being carried out largely by drive-by shooting, mostly shooting on the road. Nonetheless, despite of what is happening, we are trending this year 15% decline in the homicide rate up to today.
In addition, Dr. Chang says gang wars, which are predominantly based on conflicts over turf, have also reduced significantly across the island.
At the beginning, there was 244 active gangs. So far this year, we have only identified 106 active gangs. We have seen 27 convictions in some 5 gang trials, including our famous Klansman trial.
The National Security Minister further indicates that there are 64 gang-related cases that are under active investigation and 5 cases that are before the courts. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is now at its full 14,000-member staff level, a first in the history of the force. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says the government has been ramping up its recruitment drive to fill vacancies created by persons who have resigned or retired over the years.
We'll take a look at another state if we need to go beyond that, but at this stage we'll be looking to consolidate our force to ensure we have enough sub-officers and officers throughout the force to provide quality supervision and ensure the professional quality of the force remains on track.
He says the JCF now boasts a transparent, merit-based promotional system, which includes examinations, developmental courses, and accelerated promotions.
We'll look at expanding the officer corps from 2.5 to 3.5% during the course of this year, which will ensure that we have a hierarchical effect of increased number of sub-officers required to supervise the thousands of young officers we have recruited.
The National Security Minister says retention measures include continued training of young and senior officers. He also indicates that there is a collaboration with Delaware State University for graduate-level training. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining has endorsed the introduction of a goat meat burger to the market. Portfolio Minister Floyd Green says this will support an increase in the production of goat and opens up the possibilities for other value-added products. He was speaking at the launch of the Jam Goat Burger seasoned patties at the company's Bushy Park facility last week.
Now that we have developed a goat burger, you can see the tremendous possibilities. So we're going to continue to drive and help our goat farmers to increase their production. And we're doing some more things. In fact, at our Boulders Research Center, we've done a new goat house so that we're looking at husbandry practices to ensure that best practices are being done in the ministry, and then we can pass that on to our farmers. We've brought in a feed pelletizer, spent about 11 million Jamaican dollars so that we can help our farmers deal with the nutritional regime for their goats, especially in times of drought.
Managing Director of HMH Farms thanks the ministry and other stakeholders for their support.
I'm humbled at the support that and the turnout that's here. And that is what birthed the Jam Goat Burger.
And finally, Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says enforcement measures will be strengthened to administer fines for the illegal movement of agricultural produce. Fines were significantly increased last year to $3 million and 3 years in prison, with amendments to the Agricultural Produce Act. Minister Green says this is intended to deter against unlawful practices such as the theft of livestock and produce.
Additionally, we've made some amendments to the Anti-Gang Act, so we can now charge people for predatory offenses under the Anti-Gang Act, because it's not like one time where a man a thief and one goat. Predatory, unfortunately, is now organized crime, and we have to treat it as such.
The maximum fines for trespassing have also moved to $1 million, and Minister Green says the ministry will deploy more boots on the ground through the Agricultural Wardens Program.
We're going to target the areas that we already know we have high incidence of predatory larceny, and we're going to literally put an additional supplemental police team on the ground to deal with agricultural crime. And you will hear more about that this year. That will happen this year.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Children need parents that are involved in their education. Children often face challenges when completing their assignments because they have no help. Here is how you could become more involved in your child's education and help them on a better path to success.
What is it, my daughter?
I can't do that maths here.
All right. Let me take a look at it now.
Math can seem daunting, but there are a few things you can do to support your child at home. One area to look at is games. We all play games on a regular basis, especially children. And how much fun would it be to tie mathematics into the games they play?
there's a very interesting notion that is put forward. And that notion is the fact that the things that we are interested in are the same things that we seem to do well in. Now, if it is that around our interest, there's also a heightened level of performance, or we seem to learn things much faster when we are in tune, it therefore becomes important for us to actually put emphasis on making mathematics an interest. Because once we begin to allow our students or our children to see the fun in math and begin to develop a level of interest, it is at that point in time you will find that they may learn the concepts much faster.
Arithmetic helps us in keeping track of time, conducting business, and making plans.
In reinforcing the math from home, we have to do a few things. One, you could, while cooking or baking, allow your child to come forward and to share the math concepts that they were exposed to in school. I'm sure while you're cooking something, your child can apply some measurement skills, some conversions, some looking at the beakers and so on. Additionally, we know that at times we do some amount of sorting and organizing. There's always a shelf somewhere to be packed, a cabinet to be reorganized, some things to be moved around. This is an opportunity to allow your child to use their spatial awareness, to be able to look at shapes.
Do you want to know what I do?
I find creative ways to incorporate the knowledge to them, because maths is not an easy subject. And most children will tell you, maths hard, but this is something that they need in their everyday life. So I find creative ways to put it to them in fun ways that we both can enjoy doing it together.
Some of the concepts that I believe that parents could pay a keen attention to is the number concept, like the simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division.
You have to know at least the basics. I mean, we're not going to tell them about the algebras and the other areas which is a little bit challenging to them, but at least know to make change, know how to know the difference between distance and time and things like those. I'll try to encourage all fathers at least to know the basic about the concept of maths. For the primary student, you use whatever they like. Okay. If they like food, they use food. Divide up the pizza, show them how to divide it. If they like money, they're the children who love playing with money and love counting money, use the money.
Look at your child textbook. You'd see the topics based on the child age group, all the topics that they'll go through throughout the entire year. And you can also consult with the teacher and find out what topic am I looking at now, so that you can use all the online resources.
We have to find out what is the root of the problem first. Is it that you're not understanding, or you're not grasping as much as you're being taught? Then that much we need to identify what are the weak areas, what are the problems. Once we can identify what is the problem, then we can actually try and fix it from there.
So we're not supposed to be thinking with our fixed mindset that there's only one way, so the teacher is doing it wrong. We could be doing it wrong, we might never know. So we'll have to be open to the fact that we're not the only person with an opinion, or this is not the only way of solving that one problem.
Parents, I want to encourage you today. When it is that your child comes home with the math book and you realize that the approach that is being taken to deliver the content is not the same way you are used to it, don't throw it aside and say, no, that's wrong, or that is harder, that's different. You need to embrace the approach.
There is many ways to help. You don't have to help physically, but being there to sit down and to encourage the child, talk with them, or even while they're doing it, you look over and say, yes man, okay, try it this way. I mean, that is support.
Support your child and give them the push they need. In math, practice makes perfect.
Breast milk helps to keep the baby healthy and protects against diseases. It is the ideal nutrition for babies and supports growth and development. Let's look at some other benefits of breastfeeding in this next feature.
Every child has the right to enough nourishing food to grow well and flourish. For the very young, breast milk remains the best food source.
Data from the World Health Organization shows that breast milk, as the natural first food for babies, provides all the energy and nutrients that the infant needs for the first 6 months of life. And it continues to provide up to half or more of a child's nutritional needs during the second half of the first year, and up to 1/3 during the second year of life.
Breast milk provides much needed antibodies to protect babies against all kinds of infections. The colostrum or foremilk, which is the first milk produced by mothers after giving birth, is the baby's first immunization against some infections. Babies who are exclusively breastfed have less episodes of diarrhea, acute respiratory infection, and skin conditions.
Appropriate breastfeeding practices, therefore, have the potential to reduce infant mortality in children ages 5 years and younger by 14%, while appropriate complementary feeding up to 2 years of age is capable of preventing an additional 6% of deaths in this age range.
Breastfeeding also establishes a close, loving bond between mother and baby. In addition, mothers benefit from improved postpartum recovery, reduced iron loss, and decreased risk of breast and ovarian cancers. Another benefit? Mothers need not spend on infant formulas, which can be a huge financial burden.
Breastfeeding is a universal solution that has proven to improving the health, well-being, and survival of women and children around the world. It helps to prevent malnutrition in all its forms, ensures food security for infants and young children, and thus helps to bring people and nations out of hunger and the poverty cycle. That's big. That's quite profound.
Men can actively participate and support the breastfeeding mother. So even, for example, if the milk is expressed and placed in a clean container or cup, then the father can be the one to feed the child from the cup with the breast milk.
In cases where the mother is breastfeeding, the father can support her by doing chores to ease her burden.
Some quick tips on breastfeeding for mommy to eat from all the 7 food groups that keep you healthy. Continue taking your maternal supplements. Remember, baby is getting all its nutrients from breastfeed milk, and make sure that when baby sleeps, you sleep, because babies don't have a special time to sleep, so you have to get rest when baby sleeps.
Mothers who choose not to breastfeed are encouraged to discuss this issue with their healthcare provider. Individual counseling on breastfeeding is important for dispelling any myths or concerns.
And we need to embrace the traditional approaches as it relates to lactating mothers, as it relates to development of our newborns. And there is very little technology that is going to change that reality, that the breast is best and is still the best.
Medical experts recommend the initiation of breastfeeding within ½ hour of birth. Do not give newborns any food or drink other than breast milk unless medically indicated. And encourage breastfeeding on demand. Also, don't give artificial teats or pacifiers to breastfeeding infants.
The hope for the ministry is that every child receives a fair opportunity at benefiting from the tremendous nutritional and other critical values, psycho-emotional, physiological, economic, and hygienic advantages of breastfeeding.
Do what's best for your child. Breastfeed and give them a healthy start to a long life.
The color of my skin is something I admire. The strong melanin sparked a ray of sunshine as I walked outside. I'm proud of the skin I'm in, and so are many people like me. Here are a few who weren't afraid to embrace the color of their skin.
The culture has a body of stories and successive generations of storytellers who represent the memory of those people.
And so, understanding who we are completely entails releasing any doubts we may have about ourselves.
What I would like to know is why are there less light-skinned persons and more black-skinned persons in Jamaica? To understand more of where I'm from and be more conscious. I don't think you can ever be too conscious.
Why some black people don't really like their color.
My blackness is more than just what happened in slavery times. It's more than that. We're bringing something in that I believe that we need to tell that story.
Dear Black girl, here's an extraordinary tale of your history, and it begins here.
Most black persons would have come to this region through the process of enslavement. And so that has shaped a lot of our experiences, our cultural experiences, our physical experiences as well. So we can't deny that. But I think that what really should be noted for Jamaican and Caribbean women is that we've had an experience too of resisting. So resisting enslavement, resisting encroachment on our bodies, these types of things are part of your experience as well.
Is so often miseducated that we believe we're not contributing unless we have on high heel shoes and stocking and jacket and tie and all of these wonderful things that some outside force tells us that we ought to be.
I think that in Jamaica we can take a lot of things for granted, and one of that is our blackness, right? And so because we take it for granted, we will bleach our skin and we try to look like, our European brothers and sisters, but in all aspects, we are supposed to celebrate our blackness.
There is a general lack of education that we as black people have about the greatness of our skin, of our skin color.
Melanin is so important that it protects us from the sun's harmful UV rays and, for the most part, keeps us safe from skin cancer.
My blackness is unique. My blackness is strong. My blackness is culture.
My blackness is special, unique, and strong.
My blackness is phenomenal. My blackness is what makes me beautiful.
My blackness has allowed for certain opportunities as well, because say in a space they want to show diversity, I would be able to represent there as well.
So when we step out and we go to different countries or we are leaving the island, we know within ourselves that we are, bringing something, that we are a brand, right? And so when we go amongst other people, we're not going to feel inferior. We're not going to feel as though we don't contribute to something. We will be able to say, hey, I bring something because I know what my blackness is.
Traditionally, Jamaican women have also charted their own course in business, in politics, in work in the public sphere. I think generally we have not been very much conforming to what is expected of womanhood for the most part.
What is happening now? We are picking up some habits that I don't like. We're taking the foreign stuff. You cannot take somebody else's culture and put it on your kids. A person who doesn't know their culture is lost. God made us so beautiful. God made us so beautiful. And we should embrace what God gives to us. Don't try and change it.
This is who I am. It's not a struggle, it's not a challenge, it just is.
So, to self, don't try to change me. Don't try to lock me up. For my ancestors have said it, and I believe in it. Black girls are exquisitely beautiful in every shade.
Some parents may find it difficult to discipline their children, especially teenagers, without being too hard on them. Here are some tips that are guaranteed to help you with that.
For teenagers, it's a little harder in some ways, and in other ways it's a little easier because they do understand the difference between right and wrong. It's clearer what are some of the things that they love, and you can remove those things. But one of the things that's really important with teenagers is really to take the time to make sure that they understand that their feelings and their opinions are valued. So in the moment, yes, I'm removing these things, but I'm also having a conversation with you about why you won't have access to these things for a particular period, right? We're explaining why this thing might be dangerous to you, whether or not you agree with it. I am the parent, right? This is where I am coming from. It really requires a conversation, because ultimately what you want to teach them to do, is to reason and to think, right? You don't want to just be disciplining and you're not helping them to think through it and to use proper judgment and reasoning skills. And so those are some of the things that you can try.
If the child becomes stubborn, the child is more obstinate, and the child has a fixed mindset, if you will, that this is what he or she is going to continue to do, then you might need professional help. You might need to call the commission, or you might need to call a social worker or a guidance counselor to help for you, because sometimes parents don't have the language either to even explain why this behavior is wrong. And that causes friction. Once the friction starts, then we recommend that you get a third party involved, because it could become worse.
Can you believe it? We're at the end of yet another show. But be sure to join us tomorrow on this station for all the information you need to know. Until then, visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for this and more offerings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry, reminding you to cherish your children, for they are the footprints you leave behind.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.